Okay, August 10th. A little bit of a morning check-in. I'm feeling super, super tired today. I'm assuming it's associated with the gym, maybe not.
A little bit of everything.
He's got a baby face. He shaved his little goatee. So handsome. Well, I think it's what we're talking about that I wanted to talk about that I know.
Fine.
I know my hair too, right? I know.
That's what this video is about.
What, being natural?
Yeah, that was not for show.
Oh, not for show, right. I can't seem to do things just for fun. I have to have a purpose. Either it's making money. I didn't want to leave you.
Oh, this is primarily you. I'm just doing this bonus.
Well, like, either it's got to be making money or it's got to be purposeful in some way. And I don't know, I seem to have purposeful categories, which are benefiting someone, making money, furthering education.
Starting a career.
Like something like that. Like, here I'm trying to do an experiment in just enjoying. And even that, I want to turn it into something like a career, a purposeful, like, I don't know how to just do something just because it's just fun. That's not enough. That's not enough.
Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Stop. But I even do that like with the jobs. Like, the last 2 jobs I've had were supposed to be fun jobs. And it starts out that way. And then I start to like the people and start to stand for them. And then I want to get promoted. And it starts to become all...
Good job.
I don't know. What is it? It starts to become all like about betterment, but then it folds in on itself. It's not about betterment. Then it becomes a burden and it's no longer fun. How do you do things just for fun?
You gotta be more in the moment, in the now. Don't worry about then, in the future. Right now I'm enjoying this. Right now I'm gonna stand up for that. And somebody goes, oh, I need to be in this position then so I could do this. And I can change that. Just enjoy your moment.
I'm always thinking about how to improve things, and I am a process improvement specialist. I mean, I've been trained in that. Is that what it is? Or is it something else? Like, why am I always trying to look at things, oh my God, and make them better? This is exactly what Alan Watts was talking about yesterday. That every time we look at things, we want to make it better, and we think we're making it better, and we never make it better. Look at Target, where I was. I did so much to try to make it better. I think I only made it worse. I don't think I made it any better, did I?
Yes. That's like an overarching better, but individually, I don't know.
No, it's not better for you. It wasn't better for me. I ended up having to leave.
Mine's about the same.
But you're tough. They could be making it a lot worse for you.
True, but they should try harder.
I mean, it's probably the same for most of them. It's the same mucky. They're getting a little more in line with following the law.
The fact that took some time.
Right. The fact that they're not even following the law as a billion-dollar company is quite impressive. But, I mean, no one knows what they're doing. So there I am. I'm like, well, I know what I'm doing, so I'm going to make it better. And then I'm going to get promoted, but I can't because I realize I can't make it any better getting promoted. At least I knew that. I didn't follow that for another 3 years. But that's the problem, isn't it? When you look at something and think it needs to be improved, then inherently you're making it worse just through your focus on what's wrong. In order to find what needs to be improved, you have to look at what's wrong. You have to look at what's going poorly.
Instead of, it can just be better.
No, I think you literally leave the better out of it. That's what Alan Watts was saying. His final conclusion was like, how about you just observe what's happening and stop judging it? And he obviously wasn't aware really of the Abraham work, and I don't think he was really connected to the Neville Goddard, your mind creates reality. He was obviously very spiritually astute, but he was sort of like that analyzer making all these observations. And well, maybe that's him living out what he thought, that you just observe what's happening and you can't control it. The more we try to fix problems, the worse they get. Look, the more we've tried to cure cancer, there's more cancer than there ever is. It doesn't work that way. So you just observe what's happening and just go, and just, I guess, like you said, enjoy the moment. Enjoy what's happening.
And you can do better, but that doesn't mean the system is flawed or anything else. You can just do.
I think it's focusing on what's right. This is what I was talking about, even having a consulting company, which sounds absurd, but a consulting company where you hire people just to focus on how right things are, to focus on how talented your people are, to focus on how much money you're making. Because if you really believe in the power of the mind, then having someone who who isn't connected as a third party that can literally just focus on things going right would actually help your business, because you have all this resistance and you think, oh, well, Sally sucks and they're going to cancel that order, and you probably can't get out of that. So hiring someone completely disconnected who would just focus on the good would absolutely improve your business. So if you go in somewhere, you should just be focusing on what's right with everyone, what's going well, what's good. And all of us are trained to do the opposite, to criticize, to judge, to find what's wrong. That's even what process of improvement is about. Find what's wrong, make it better. But inherently, you're focusing on the wrong thing. So I think you can do the same stuff, like do process improvement over, but you're looking for the wins. It's a mental adjustment. It's like, I realized yesterday, my mom was talking about my niece and how scared she is, or even my friend Christine was talking about how scared she is, and that's why she goes to work earlier. And I had this sudden realization where I was like, she could do the exact same thing and not do it from fear. Rather than saying, I'm getting there earlier because I had a car accident, I'm scared of how people drive and blah, blah, blah. She could say, I'm doing this because it feels good and it feels better to get up early. And I enjoy getting to work earlier, and not feeding the fear. But it's the exact same thing. So when my mom was talking about my niece, who's a little girl consumed with fear, and she doesn't want to watch violence on TV because she says she's afraid of it, I said to my mom, tell her she can make the exact same choice, but do it because it feels good. So she doesn't have to be afraid of stuff. It could be because I just don't want to have that in my mind. I don't want to think about violence or baby suckling pigs being used for dinner on Chopped, right? She has to leave the room, and I get that. I don't want to think about that either. But we can either do it from fear, like I'm weak and I'm fearful and it grosses me out and I'm scared, because it shows up in her dreams, just like me. I'm super sensitive that way too. But rather than saying, oh, I don't want that in my dreams, I can say, you know what? I don't need that in my mind. I want to fill my mind with good, happy things. And that's my choice because it feels good. So you can do the exact same thing, but have a different come from. That's what I'm thinking, I guess. So it's the same stuff. Like, I'm doing the same stuff during this time, but I can either do it because I can enjoy it, or I'm doing it because I think I'm getting somewhere, or it's leading somewhere, which it's not. I just have to do it because it's fun, and that doesn't seem like enough motivation to do.
Fun is hard sometimes. You'd think it would be very natural and smooth transition because you enjoy it and it's fun, but alas.
But it's not. It gets programmed out of us. I still remember the day my mom said to me, Emily, life isn't just about having fun. When I was a little kid.
Fun is for children.
I was a child at that point. But yeah, you're right. And then it's like, grow up.
And not enjoy yourself like everyone else.
And then what does my keychain say from Abraham? Life is supposed to be fun. That's the whole purpose. We're little creators down here just playing to have a good time. There's no consequences. You die, you come back. Oh well. You can't screw it up. It just keeps going. There is literally no consequence behind, besides a few miserable years here potentially. And I mean, that feels
also,
like
even the things you do is literally just for you.
Just for you, and just for your own benefit.
The machine keeps going. It keeps playing out regardless of your actions. So you really should just be enjoying yourself. It can't actually stop this cog from turning.
No, it just keeps going. And the funny thing is, anytime something's happened and I've really had a need, something's always shown up to fill the need. If I think back, even in my hardest times, it's like the money showed up when I needed it, the job, the whatever. Like, you can literally just have a good time and everything will work out, or you can be stressed to hell and everything will work out.
And things will still kind of work out.
But less so, less enjoyably.
It'll be less enjoyable, but for some reason it also still kind of worked.
Well, because we know through Abraham that your desire will still pull it to you. It's just not as good as if you are happy. And literally the most important thing in life is to be happy and have fun, and we have somehow made that hard.
And not okay.
And not okay.
That's not okay.
It's absurd. It's an absurd conversation about a hard time having fun. It's insane. It's also insane, though, in our culture as an adult to be like, I'm focused on having fun. We would also be like, that's insane. You're an adult. You need to be focused on other things.
Yeah, more important things. Real things.
Except when you find out that being happy and having fun pulls everything to you that matters. Then it becomes more important. We are really screwed up. I am really screwed up.
Like, I'll defer back to my thing. Just because I'm having a bad day doesn't mean I have to have a bad day.
Well, you know how to relax with it
Just
more.
enjoy it.
I don't know if you know how to have fun either, per se.
I can enjoy myself. Fun is a little harder, but I can enjoy the moment. And I can just drop that and move on to something better.
You are good about staying in the moment, but there can be an avoidance to it. I'm
not perfect.
No, I'm not trying. Sorry, that's not what I meant. I'm trying to analyze, like, how I want to be. You're much better about being in the moment. And well, there we go, better again.
I'm in a bad space. I'll try to end that bad space and get to a less bad space.
You are much more skilled at that and understanding that matters for how you're coping. Where I'll just like ride the rocket right down and be like, no, we're having a bad time, let's do it.
Kind of like when you're searching for something, you start getting frustrated you can't find it. You should stop looking. Go do something else. And then come back and you'll probably find it really awkwardly fast.
But I really thought that, like, and I guess I was taught that from my family culture, but like worrying is a sign of love or something. The more upset you are about something, it means you really cared. Or this idea that you really can, like, you can't, like, thinking you can get sick enough to make sick people well, or that getting miserable somehow helps is then everybody's miserable together, and not realizing like that's not true at all. It doesn't help at all.
It's kind of like also when you're talking with people and you start comparing sob stories. You're like, it's not actually bringing anyone up to think that you had it worse.
You know what's even...
It doesn't make me feel better.
Right. We do that all the time. It's like we're trying out it. Or if I'm doing really well, I found it even on the phone with my friend the other day where I was like dumbing down a little bit how well I was doing. I had to sort of undercut it because I don't want to be doing that well. If it makes
boastful.
Well, it makes them, yeah, I don't want them to feel bad because I'm doing well and they're having a harder time. I guess I think it makes it more achievable for them, or it makes me more relatable. That's some bullshit. How does it make me more relatable to be more miserable?
Well, the fact that you say relatable means, oh, do you think everyone else is miserable?
Well, in those particular cases, I feel guilty for doing well, or like it's gonna make them feel bad. Like it is being boastful. Like, well, I'm doing great. And they'll be like, oh, well, I'm not.
Good for you, a-hole.
Right, but then I'm just doing what I'm doing based on other people's opinions, really, aren't I?
I would rather take the neutral approach and just not talk about me. Focus on you. I am fine. But I'm also not going to bring myself down.
I have a guilt about doing well. I do. And I feel like, because I think we in our society let people off the hook more if they're not doing well. Like, oh, well, they were sick. We allow excuses a lot. Oh, well, they were sick, or oh, they didn't feel well, or oh, there's so-and-so just died, or whatever it is. So like you can kind of use excuses, be it for not contacting or not feeling so great. I don't know how to really describe it.
My favorite is, I was busy.
Right. And that gets to be enough. Not having to qualify everything. Make excuses for not doing things. I didn't text you because I don't feel like it. Frankly, that's why I don't text people. I don't really feel like if I text, it takes time and focus, and
I wasn't in the mood to talk with you.
Yeah, like I missed the call, or I was a half an hour late to a call with a friend, and it was funny last week, and I didn't make any, because I was just like, I don't have an excuse for you. I was just having a great time and caught up with what I was doing and missed the time. Yeah. I was like, I don't have a great excuse, and I just owned it. But some days I feel like this need to put on a show or be pathetic because it excuses or explains rather than the truth, which is I didn't want to talk to you, which I guess is what Alan Watts says. Like, don't pretend to love people. That's a bunch of bullshit. Just don't just admit you don't. Or in that moment, you're not up to it. But we get so offended with each other. Like, even one friend I had in Florida, I didn't respond to his text fast enough. The last time he texted, and it was like, he sent some like F you text after that I didn't care about him. And I'm like, it's pointless for me to try to keep up that friendship.
Stop what you're doing and console me.
Right, when really they think they're being underloved, but it's like, you think the world revolves around you just because you're sitting at home alone and have no one to talk to and are waiting on this. Like, that's not on me. I'm not that type of texter. I'm not going to answer that fast, but people get upset. They find it insulting. I don't expect anyone to answer me right away. Like, take a couple days. I assume you're busy. It's not like you should let your phone
I'm
control you.
unhappy in reaching out. You're not really unhappy because I never expected anyone to ever reach back. If you're really unhappy,
Yeah, but you
shouldn't expect anyone to reach out. Otherwise, you're just trying to get attention. And that means you're not actually happy. Unhappy. Really unhappy people don't expect anything in return.
But you really... That's terrible.
Because they're not worth it.
Stop. You really went through some stuff, and you really did have people ditch out on you, and you really did have abandonment stuff when we were first friends. I did too. Like, well, nobody cares anyway. Womp, womp, womp. Feeling sorry for ourselves. You had that.
Yeah. A lot of people have had that. But yeah, if somebody gets upset at you because you don't respond back, they're fine.
We take it so personally, though. We do, that people are abandoning me and, you know, ditching out. And the truth is, someone asked me that a while back, because I was like, you know, there's always sort of like this ghosting or ditching out or abandonment. But the truth is, I do it. I just, if I'm done talking to you, I just stop. I've done that a lot in my life. I've just left groups. Like gratitude, I was like, had a great concept, but when I realized like some really bad things going on there, I just left and cut off anyone involved. But then I can't get mad at people doing that to me, right? Because you can only be in a relationship with yourself. You can only give to the only person you're giving to is yourself. The only person you're taking from is yourself. So you abandon people, they're gonna do it to you. But now I don't care, because I realize it. I'm like, I want to be able to freely walk away.
You're weird. Why don't you have the fear of missing out?
I did for a long time. Yeah. FOMO was a huge thing.
A lot of people have, like, it doesn't matter if I'm unhappy, I still kind of want to know what you're doing.
And I still want to go do it, even if I don't really want to go do it, because I don't want to miss out.
Me going there would literally kill the vibe of everything. I still want to be there. To be mopey, but also there. That's always what confused me. Why would you want to be around people?
That was a funny thing with gratitude. Even a couple people said, well, why do you keep doing it if you hate it and it makes you unhappy? I'm like, well, I committed to it. Or I feel like I should go, because that was really strange, though, because it was a really mixed message. Like, on the one hand, they're saving the world. So they got everyone to volunteer. It's all volunteer. The only people paid are the trainers. Everything else is volunteer labor. And they would ask you to work more than your actual job. But then as soon as something went bad or there was something off in it, they'd be like, well, we're a business, so we can't touch that. And I was like, you can't do both. You can't get people to volunteer because they're saving the world, but then when things go bad, be like, we're a business, so legally we can't get involved. Like, you need to pay people then like an actual business and have employees and policies. That was like
you need to do better. That's what you just did there. Like, let's do a different business model that's an actual business. You can continue yours, and whatever happens, well, will happen.
Well, I was thinking about this the other day. No, you're right. And I was like, how would you design it? It's such a great thing. But in order to design it right, you have to have employees that are actually their coaches.
Employees and responsible.
And captains. And you have to keep it clean. Because they were on volunteers, they had to take whoever was willing to do it, right? And
volunteer work is rough.
Well, and because it's such intensive, energetic work, and there's such an intensive trickle down, you can't just be taking any volunteer that signs up. You like, people with addiction issues and sex issues. Oh, and there were a ton of actual predators in there. They would let staff all the time. Meanwhile, people are in there talking about their molestation. It was like, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Like, they're trying to work that stuff out. Exactly. You can't have predators who are staffing, acting like their safe zone, because you need volunteers. Like, so you're right. It is not that that's a problem. It's that there's a great way to design the business model to be successful.
I need to make a business model that works for my value system. Period.
But then we won't make all that money.
You still can in your business model, just not copious amounts and excessive amounts. Excess.
I mean, it was $500 a seat for part one, and we could get like 100 to 150 people in there. Ooh. The minimum people paid was $300. Part two was $2,000 to $3,000. And
again, mostly volunteers.
No, only person paid is the trainer, but there are higher ups. The owner wasn't a trainer, and she had to get paid, mind you, and she made a lot. So $2,000 to $3,000 a head for part 2, and that was like, maybe it was 1,000 to 2,000, but you could have like up to 40 people in there. So I was like, I would calculate, I'm like, you're making like $80K over 5 days. And so granted, you need the space, and then you need a trainer, yeah, who's probably making 5,000 maybe. So then they finally had space and a few employees, and then part 3 goes on over 3 months. So your volunteers, I was spending so much time when I coached. It's 3 months and it's like 3,000 to 5,000. But you only have a couple weekends in there. So you only need actual space where you get together. Well, there's third weekend is your final weekend. So you have 3 weekends. And then you have all this stuff happening in there. Your coaches are coaching once a week for free. Your captains
full-time jobs.
Dude, I mean,
in 3 months, that's fine.
When I was a coach, I was coaching my team members. I think it's once or twice every single week, and you're on the phone with them for a lot. Meanwhile, every single day you're with them. I mean, there's so much you're doing. The captains, it's absurd what they're doing, and all of it's free. Only the trainers are getting paid. So and only for the weekend. So the money is. You could have employees, is what I'm trying to get at.
Long story short, there's a better way.
Well, I mean, you have a room of 120 people. You only have 5 people per group in the first one. So it's a good bit of coaches, but you could still pay them $100, $200 each or something. It's not like it's going to be
Or you could drop the cost.
Of the people coming in.
Yes.
Well, if you're going to pay people, you still, I mean... Like the coaches for 40 people, you only have 5 people in a group. You still need 8 coaches in there.
Wait, are we making a business model or a video?
Sorry.
We can do both.
I don't know. I'm just playing it out in my head. You're right. That's silly. All right. Well, so in conclusion, how to have fun.
Yeah, have fun. We find this fun, by the way. As you can see, this is
fun.
Not really for anything other than to express ourselves and not really to look great or
it's definitely not to look great.
Cohesive message.
Sorry.